Joe Gibbs Racing is in serious trouble from the next season onwards. They fired a proven champion in Kyle Busch, who, despite his declining form, did not deserve to be treated in this manner under any circumstances. On top of that, they replaced him with the owner's grandson, Ty Gibbs, who has a reputation as the most reckless and notorious driver in the Xfinity Series last season. As an addition, Ty lost his father recently, so he could have issues with tampering his emotions and letting it all out on the track, which is never a good thing to happen to a team. So what should Joe Gibbs Racing expect from 2023 onward? And why is their future in serious doubt? Let us fill you in. After 15 years with the team and 2 championships in 2015 and 2019, Kyle Busch has been let go by Joe Gibbs Racing. The team has an aspiring talent from the Xfinity Series, and due to the fact that his grandfather owns the team, rest assured that he will have priority over the other drivers. The team messed up with their approach to Kyle Busch and pointed out that the main reason as to why they were letting him go is because he is no longer the Candyman, or more precisely, because M&M backed out of sponsoring Kyle Busch. True, Kyle was in declining form and his recent performance wasn't exactly blossoming, but that doesn't mean you fire a 2-time world champion who has been with your team for 15 years just to bring in a 20-year-old kid who still has a lot to learn. While many praise Ty for being a fast driver who needs a lot of work on his temper and tantrums, similar to Verstappen in Formula 1, the challenge to perform in the Cup Series could be a massive one, and Ty could fall down faster than everybody expects. One thing is for sure, Joe Gibbs Racing has made a questionable move, one that could propel them to the bottom of the Cup Series faster than ever. And could it be that the grandson of the owner of the team will be the main facilitator of this outcome? Quite possibly. Ty Gibbs is, or at least was, one of the most notorious drivers in the Xfinity Series. We all remember what he did in Martinsville and his actions against his teammate Brandon Jones. Therefore, instead of having 3 drivers from the same team in the finale in Phoenix, Gibbs' move made him the only competitor in the championship 4 against 3 drivers from JR Motorsport. The fact that he beat all of them in a fair and square race just goes to show that he has the speed and the talent, but the behavior is far from acceptable. This is something that Kyle Petty, who is one of the most fierce critics of Ty Gibbs, also added in one of his interviews. According to him, Gibbs is nothing but an entitled driver, and that is something that everybody out there knows. I don't believe it changes a lot in the garage. I think it changes the fans' perception of who Ty Gibbs is. I think Ty Gibbs has proven now to everyone that he is arrogant, entitled, and thinks he can just go in and take things when they are not his and do it the wrong way. And that's what I don't like about it as much. We've seen people move people 1,000 times. He didn't move this guy. He wrecked him in the middle of the straightaway. When you see it, it's before they ever get to the corner. He's backing it, and then he gets out and raises his hands. It's a punk move. Another huge factor that comes into play in this narrative of Joe Gibbs Racing doing a bad job by signing Ty Gibbs is the fact that he is the grandson of the owner. If you are a huge fan of Formula 1 as well, just look into the Aston Martin team and the situation between Lance Stroll and Lawrence Stroll, his father and the owner of the team. Lance's seat in Aston Martin is guaranteed regardless of how poorly he performs because the team exists thanks to his father. This could be an indigo copy in NASCAR, and no matter what Ty Gibbs does, he will always be protected. We've seen that he is able to wreck his teammates, and he is more than happy to do so. After celebrating the win in Martinsville, he took all the booing with pride, and it's like he's the villain of the sport and lives for these kinds of things. His teammate Brandon Jones said that although he and Ty were close friends and he respected him, after this race, all the respect is gone. What's even more shocking about this narrative is the fact that even the owner of JGR, Joe Gibbs, said that it's very hard to deal with these situations like this due to the fact that Ty is family. When talking about the aftermath and the situation that happened in Martinsville and regarding the repercussions that his grandson should face for his actions, Joe said, "We want to go about this the right way and we are walking. I am and our family is, with Ty as he walks through all of this. When tough things happen, and certainly nobody wanted that to happen, I said, now there are consequences, and so we're trying to walk through those with him. I was also there and I think a lot about that too. There are things I could have done a better job of. I think everybody out there who's got kids and grandkids knows the feeling, so that's all part of it. Sometimes that's not easy to kind of walk through all that, but I think it's just something that we have to do as a family and as a race team family. Sometimes the question is different because it's your grandson. I've watched Ty for 20 years. We know every single thing about him. I know what kind of kid he is. As a family, we just want to have what's best for him, and we want to help him in every way. We're going to stay really close to him and just walk with him through this." Quite some interesting sayings, we must add. Knowing what Ty is capable of, it's safe to say that he won't back down from any challenge. This means that he isn't afraid of crashing into his teammates if that means he'll achieve his goals, and that is a narrative that Joe Gibbs Racing doesn't need in their garage. As of now, his teammates will be Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Christopher Bell. All of these drivers are full of experience and know how to behave properly. And you can totally say that they are top caliber drivers, ones that you would love to have on your team. Joe Gibbs has done a great job of luring all of them to one team, but the question is, can he keep them on the same team with Ty Gibbs coming in as a replacement for Kyle Busch? Gibbs also has to work a lot on his statements. After the race in Martinsville, he compared himself to Jesus. Simply put, if you want to be a respected individual in NASCAR, and if you want other drivers to respect you and give you room to improve, your behavior is the most important thing you need to work on right now. Ty Gibbs has issued an apology to Brendan Jones after his actions, and this just goes to show that he can grow as a person. The question is whether he wants to do so or whether he can find the willpower to do so. What I did last week was unacceptable, and I apologize once again, but it was unacceptable because we could have had 2 shots to win this deal, and it was stupid from an organization standpoint. All my fault. I can sit here and tell you I'm sorry as much as I can, but it's not going to fix it. I've got to fix my actions. But it goes without saying that Ty will struggle with this, simply because he believes that his seat at Joe Gibbs Racing is given to him and that he cannot be replaced. Just like his granddad said, it's never easy when you have to deal with certain stuff with your grandson, and there is always the opportunity of him not accepting anything that his granddad says because the fame will simply hit him in the head. And Ty is in his 20th year of life. At this age, it's amazing that he is having an opportunity to debut in NASCAR, but not with the mindset and the behavior he has. Quite simply, there is a high possibility that Ty will turn into a nemesis or a villain in the sport just because he cannot control his emotions whenever he is out there on the ovals. We've seen a similar experience recently with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson, and quite frankly, we think that Ty would have reacted the same way as Bubba. What's even almost certain a given is that Ty would have purposefully crashed into Larson if he was on Bubba's property, something Bubba also did. I mean, the kid crashed into his teammate for no particular reason in a race that was of crucial meaning to his teammate. Imagine that somebody pushes him aside and he wants to retaliate with the same action. On top of that, Ty has lost his biggest supporter in his life, his father, Coy Gibbs. At 20 years of age, it's always hard to process emotions like this, especially when you have to race in the Cup Series. Nobody has mercy here, and you won't get the easy way out of it just because you're grieving. This means that eventually, Ty could let the emotions get the best of him and do stuff the owner of the team wouldn't have the courage to punish him for. Therefore, we must say that Joe Gibbs Racing and Ty Gibbs have a lot to work on in the near future, and this near future isn't really bright given the current circumstances. Many feel that Joe Gibbs Racing will face karma for the way they treated Kyle Busch recently, and the punishment will come from their own family. What do you think will happen next with this saga? Do you think the bold move to sign young Gibbs was a good one? Let us know in the comments below.